Good morning, hello, and happy Tuesday. Let's see here, make sure everything's up and running good. Our live stream is live indeed. Welcome to those of you who are on my Facebook group as well, and my public Facebook group. I also have a private Facebook group. If you want to find out more about that, you can look in the description. But also, I want to thank those of you who are subscribed to my YouTube channel and checking out this video. And if you're looking at this later, the recording of it, make sure that you do subscribe and that you like as well. And every morning we get together, usually about 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'm running a few minutes late today. I just needed a little more beauty rest today, So that's what I took. But I'm thankful you guys are here this morning. Good morning. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, just get in the live chat there in the YouTube live stream live chat and say good morning. Let me know where you're from. Brooklyn. All right. Awesome. Always love having you guys on. Always appreciate your comments and your questions. And I always try to just leave you with a thought for the day to help you make voiceover hopefully just a little more profitable. So the question this morning is this, and it came up in yesterday's live stream, and I didn't have a chance to answer it, so I'll answer it today. And that is, do you need, if you are in voiceover, do you need ISDN? ISDN. It's an acronym. I used to be able to tell you, I could have told you a few years back what the acronym stood for. I don't remember. And the reason is because it's a really, it's an older technology. ISDN came about, I believe it was in the 80s. And I remember, working, when I worked in academia, I remember that them installing a phone system with ISDN. It was a higher speed copper line that would allow you to do more than just regular voiceover because it had more bandwidth capability. Well, studios adapted the technology somewhere along the way, and ISDN, basically how it would work, and forgive me if I'm not as technical as some others might be regarding it, but trust me when I say you don't really need to understand the inner workings of it. You need to understand what it does. Or do you? I guess we'll answer that question too. But it utilizes copper telephone lines, which is what traditional landlines use. You would use a pair of those. There are two numbers, so you can do it in stereo. But what studios would do, they would have an ISDN line installed and activated in their studio so that they could dial out or have people with ISDN dial into their studio, so that when you're connected, it was a super high-speed data connection that would give you, better than broadcast, studio quality audio. And it's kind of a funky technology in that it can be a little tricky, and it was pretty expensive to use. Just to activate the line could be hundreds of dollars, and then you could pay hundreds of dollars a month in fees just to have the line. And of course, you're paying per minute to use the line, and it's more than regular telephone service. And then actually operating it, that was the other thing. It seemed a little tricky. Back when I used it, I used a software interface to do it, which was a little easier than, at least in my mind, was easier than getting a big hardware unit to use. And the crazy thing about getting it, I remember, it's like, remember the old Whirlpool repairman commercials? The premise of the Whirlpool repairman was that nobody ever needed him, is that he sat alone in his office, things just kind of gathered cobwebs, and he waited for his telephone to ring. As I was trying, as I was trying to get my ISDN service up and running. All right, these are the first words I'm speaking this morning, and my voice is not cooperating. I do apologize. So, in my mind, I envision there's this guy somewhere in this office that not even the people at AT&T or the telephone service, they don't even know the guy exists. I remember asking for ISDN service and people not knowing what in the world I was talking about. And this was over 10 years ago. But finally, I tracked down a guy. He was like the guy at AT&T who knew about ISDN, but they rarely ever used him. And I remember it was just such a pain in the butt getting it set up to run because the phone company just wasn't set up for it. But eventually I got it and I used it. occasionally with some studios, but here's the thing. Back to the question. Do you need it? No, you do not need it. There are some studios that still utilize it, but here's the thing. There are several ways to do high-speed data connection patches to other studios. The one that is most popular now at the recording of this video is a service called Source Connect. Source-connect.com is the website. And I utilize the Source Connect standard. It's just a little piece of software. It's only a few megabytes big. There's not much to it in terms of, I mean, it's just a small little, pretty lightweight application that you can either pay for by the month, and I think the monthly cost is about $39 a month. I just bought it outright, and if I recall, it was somewhere between $600 and $700, and I just bought it outright because I have studios that I work with that require me to have it. Now, if you're just getting started, no, don't worry about getting it. As you start to get work and there's more demand for your work, yeah, I think it makes sense. And the thing is, it's a piece of software, so it's not like you have to it's not like finding the Whirlpool repairman to get this thing set up. So here's the way I did it, is I didn't buy it until I needed it. I remember there was a job that required ISDN. I got the job, and so once I got the job, I bought the software and installed it. And then that's how I did it. And I believe they have a trial period. I'm not sure if it's 2 weeks or a month. You can, again, go to source-connect.com to find out the details, but it's not nearly as complicated as using ISDN. But what about studios that still do use ISDN? Well, there's something called an ISDN bridge, and that's where you use Source Connect to patch into another service who then patches you into your client studio via ISDN. And I won't get into that. You can Google it, Source Connect Bridge, and you can see how that works. So point being, I can still do sessions. I remember a while back doing a session for the PGA, and their studios, the PGA Tour actually has studios in Orlando. And the client or the agent that I booked the job through, I patched into the agent using Source Connect. And this was not a traditional talent agency. They're an agency that actually does audio work that has clients. But anyhow, I patched into them using Source Connect. They, in turn, dialed into the PGA Tour's offices, or studios, rather, in Orlando, and patched me in, and that's how we would do sessions. So, again, you don't need ISDN. It's still out there. It is old. I mean, it's like 20, 30-year-old technology that still, I mean, it sounds great, but getting it set up is nearly impossible. It's just, again, it's like trying to find the Whirlpool repair guy every time you need something. And just to get it set up, it seemed to be impossible, and it's very expensive. Source Connect really is the de facto standard right now, and that's the only technology that I use to patch into other studios, unless I've had a couple of occasions where I've had clients who use IPDTL, IPDTL, and they would just send me a link, and then I would just click the link, and it would patch me in through my browser to them. I also have a few clients in Europe that use, I can't remember the name. It's something Pro. The word Pro's in it. But again, they just send me a link, and I just click it, and it patches me into it. So the technology is getting better and better. It's don't feel like you have to run out and get Source Connect. You don't, and you certainly don't need ISDN. Because again, in a worst case scenario where a studio they can only use ISDN, you can always patch in using a Source Connect bridge. So that's my take on ISDN. Whoops, sorry, muted my microphone, didn't turn it back on. I'm so glad we're past the days of ISDN, because what a pain in the butt it was. And it was so incredibly expensive. All right, guys. Well, thanks for checking out the video. I appreciate it. Have yourself a great day, and I look forward to talking to you again